I told myself I was only staying at Miles and Claire's place until life stopped kicking me in the ribs. That was the version I gave people, anyway. In reality, my girlfriend had thrown me out of her condo in Tampa after she had caught me messaging someone behind her back. I never admitted that part. To Miles, I said that Lacey had gone crazy and that I had no idea why she suddenly wanted me gone. Miles believed me, because Miles had always believed me. You know, we had been friends since community college, back when we were both broke, dumb, and convinced that loyalty meant never asking too many questions. So, when he and Claire let me crash in the spare room of their townhouse, I acted grateful. I brought chocolates. I cleaned a pan once. Yeah, I kept saying things like, "Seriously, man, I owe you." But deep down, I also felt like Miles owed me a little. You know, he had the stable job, the nice rental, the pretty wife who made dinner and smiled at him like he was the safest person alive. I had a duffel bag, a dead-end job at an auto parts warehouse, and a breakup that everyone was pretending not to judge me for. Claire was nice to me. That was the problem. She asked if I wanted coffee in the morning. She knocked before coming into the guest room. She once laughed at a stupid joke that I made about Miles snoring like a dying lawnmower. It was nothing. I knew it was nothing. But when you're sleeping in another man's house, watching him live the version of life you thought you deserved, nothing starts feeling personal. The picture happened by accident at first. Miles had handed me his phone one afternoon so that I could look up a takeout place he liked. A notification popped up from his cloud photo app, and well, before I could stop myself, I swiped. I found a private picture of Claire, clearly meant only for him. I should have put the phone down. I should have felt disgusted with myself. But instead, I felt cheated. Not by Claire, not exactly, by the universe. Miles had this woman, this marriage, this warm house where people trusted him. And there I was, sleeping 10 feet away like a charity case. So, I sent the photo to myself. I deleted the message from Miles's phone, and I convinced myself that it didn't count as anything real. I wasn't going to post it. I wasn't going to show anyone. I wasn't even going to tell Claire. It was just a picture, a secret souvenir, a private little proof that Miles did not have everything locked away from me. That became my excuse every time that I opened it. But it didn't stop there. The next day, I was back at it. And the day after. It became the only thing that I looked forward to. During the day, I'd play the part, the grateful friend who helped Claire unload groceries from her car, who sat at the kitchen island while she cooked and told her, Miles is lucky as hell. Most guys don't get a wife who still looks at them the way you look at him. She'd smile and say something like, "He's a good man. We both got lucky." But looking at her drove me crazy. One afternoon, when Miles was at work, I accidentally walked into the kitchen while she was getting something from a lower cabinet. "You're terrible, Ryan," she said. She was clearly loving the attention. Another night, I told Miles over beers, "Man, if I had a girl like Claire, I'd never let her out of the house. You're doing it right." He just grinned and clapped me on the back like I was still the same dumb, loyal friend from college. I told them both that Lacey had been the one cheating, that she had thrown me out after I confronted her. Claire looked at me with real sympathy one morning over coffee. "I'm so sorry, Ryan. You didn't deserve that." I nodded and let her pour me another cup. One morning, when they were both out, I went through the laundry basket. By the end of the week, I was paranoid and hooked at the same time. I started noticing Claire looking at me a second too long sometimes, or Miles asking if I was sleeping okay. I told myself it was nothing. They trusted me. I was family. Well, one Saturday morning, Miles had left early for a golf thing with the guys from his office. Claire knocked on my door at around 10, probably to see if I wanted the breakfast that she was making. I had my headphones on, the photo open on my laptop. "Ryan, I made pancakes. Oh my God." She stood there, frozen, eyes wide on the screen. I slammed the laptop closed, but it was too late. "Claire, damn, it's not what it looks like. Don't!" Her voice was shaking, but loud. "Don't you dare lie to me right now. That picture, did Miles give it to you?" I forced a casual tone, even as my pulse hammered in my ears. "Yeah, Miles and I go way back. He showed it to me one night when we were drinking. Said it was just fine, just between us buddies. It was a one-time thing. I was curious, that's all. I was going to delete it right after you know." Claire didn't move. Her face had gone pale and her breathing was shallow. She looked at the closed laptop like it was something dirty. And then she looked at me the same way. "Delete the picture once you're done," she said quietly. Her voice had stopped shaking, but it was cold now. "And don't come near me again." She turned and walked out of the guest room without another word. I heard her go down the stairs, and then I heard the front door open and close a few minutes later. She had left the house. I sat there for a long time. Part of me felt sick. The other part felt relieved. She hadn't screamed for Miles. She hadn't called the cops. Like, she got it. Like, maybe she had liked the attention after all. The way she had grinned that day in the kitchen. I deleted the file from the laptop and I emptied the trash. But the copy on my phone stayed. I would delete it later, I told myself. I had sent it to myself that first day from Miles's phone and it was still in my messages, just in case. The house felt different after that. Claire came home eventually, but she stayed in their bedroom mostly. When Miles got back from work, she acted normal enough around him, but I could feel her watching me when he wasn't looking. I played the grateful guest harder than ever. I unloaded groceries without being asked. I washed dishes. I told Miles how lucky he was, loud enough for her to hear from the other room. Well, one night, a couple of days later, Claire was at work late. Miles and I ended up on the couch with beers, watching old sci-fi reruns, the way we used to back in community college. It almost felt like old times. I had a few. He had more. At some point, I got up to grab another beer, and I left my phone on the cushion next to me, screen up. When I got back, Miles had changed. His shoulders were rigid. He laughed at something on the screen, but it came a beat too late. I knew that look from years of knowing him. It was the look of a man who had seen something that he wished he could unsee. He didn't say a word about it. Not then. He just sat there pretending that everything was fine until the episode ended and he said that he was tired and went to bed. That made it worse. The next day, he was careful around me. Too careful. He asked questions while we ate breakfast, trying to sound casual. "So, what really happened with Lacey? You said she went crazy, but you never really told me why she threw you out. You and Claire talk much when I'm not around? She seems stressed lately." I lied the way I always lied when it mattered. Smooth. Just enough detail to sound real. "She was cheating on me. I called her on it, and she turned it around and said I was the problem. And Claire's been fine. We haven't really talked much. She's got a lot on her plate." He nodded, but his eyes didn't believe me. Or maybe they did, and he just didn't want to deal with it yet. Well then, The next evening, I was in the shower getting ready for my shift at the warehouse. I thought maybe the weirdness had passed. I was wrong. The bathroom door exploded open, slamming into the wall hard enough to leave a dent. I yanked the curtain aside, water stinging my eyes, and Miles was standing there holding my phone. His face was flushed dark red, his jaw tight like he was grinding his teeth to dust. "What the hell is wrong with you?" he roared. "Jesus, Miles, get out! What are you doing with my phone?" He didn't back up. He stepped into the room. "Why do you have a picture of my wife on your phone?" It wasn't a question looking for answers. It was an accusation looking for a fight. Wait. Let me explain. He shoved me in the chest. My bare feet slid on the wet floor, and I caught myself on the edge of the sink. The humiliation of almost falling in front of him made me angry. I shoved him back. He swung wild, his knuckles catching the side of my face with a bright flash of pain. I lunged forward and tackled him into the towel rack. We crashed around the tiny space like idiots, slipping on the tile, knocking half of the bottles off of the shower shelf into the tub with a plastic clatter. For a few seconds, it was just grunting and pushing and trying not to fall. And then he got a hold of my collar and he drove me back against the wall. My head hit hard enough to make light spark behind my eyes. "Hey, I took it off your phone that day that you let me use it," I said, the words tumbling out. It was stupid. I was drunk and I was lonely and I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry, man. I crossed the line. I know I did. He kept me pinned there, breathing hard through his nose. I could see him trying to decide what to do with me. "Oh, come on. It was just one picture. You still have the wife. You still have the house. You won in life." He stared at me for a long moment. And then something in him seemed to give up. He let go of my collar and he stepped back. He took my phone, had me unlock it, and went through it until he found the photo. He deleted it. And then he checked for any other copies, and he deleted those, too. "Pack your things. I want you out of my house." I tried to say something else, but he walked out. When Claire got home a little later, I was in the living room with my duffel bag by the door, my cheek puffing up where he had hit me. I tried one last time. "Claire, I'm sorry. It was a mistake. I was messed up after everything with Leslie." She looked at me like I was a stranger. Worse than a stranger. Like something filthy that she had stepped in. Her lip curled slightly and she didn't say a word. She just walked past me into the kitchen. That look stayed with me more than the bruise forming on my face. I left. I sent the texts from the parking lot of the motel that I found. Long, careful messages to both of them. I told Miles that I had made a mistake. I told Claire that I respected her. I told them both that I wasn't some creep, that I had never meant to hurt anyone, that I'd just been in a dark place. I said I didn't want Claire to see me that way. I cared what she thought of me. They didn't answer. Or if they did, it was to say they were done. That they were talking about what to do next. Police. Restraining orders. Whatever people do when they decide that you're dangerous over one picture that never left my phone. By midnight, the shame had burned away, and had left something harder behind. Miles had put his hands on me in his own bathroom. Claire had looked at me like I was less than human. They were acting like I had done something unforgivable when all I had done was take one picture. They had the life, the jobs, the marriage, the safety. And now, they were taking even the small piece of it that I had let myself have. Well, the next evening I went back. I didn't know what I expected. Yeah, maybe for Claire to have talked him down. Maybe for an apology from them. Miles opened the door with the chain still on. Claire stood behind him with her arms crossed tight. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I'm ashamed. I'll get help. I'll do whatever you want. I don't want to lose you guys. Miles looked at me like he was already done. Our friendship is over, Ryan. Don't come back. I felt the words hit, and something in me pushed back before I could even stop it. Fine. But don't act like this is some one-way thing forever. One day I'll have a wife too. And when I do, you can have her pictures. Maybe we'll swap the women on birthdays. Call it even. Claire's mouth opened like she had been slapped. Miles' face went blank, his eyes flat and empty. He didn't say another word. He just closed the door, the chain rattling as it caught, and then the deadbolt turned with a final click. I stood there on their front step for a minute, and then I turned and walked away. He was overreacting. Claire would text in a day or two once she calmed down. We could figure this out. I told myself that with every step. But the truth was, I was angry. And I was hurt. They had treated a picture like a crime. Like I was some kind of predator. It had only been a picture. My name is David. I'm 28, an ER attending at St. Luke's in Chicago. Or I was. 12 years of med school, residency, night shifts, saving lives. None of it prepared me for the moment my own life imploded. Julia and I had been together for almost 5 years. We met at a hospital fundraiser. She was there representing a non-profit that provided mental health services to low-income families. We started dating casually and then seriously. She moved into my apartment after 2 years. We talked about marriage, kids someday, the usual things couples say when they're comfortable. My schedule was brutal. 80-hour weeks, back-to-back traumas, codes that ended badly. I'd come home at dawn, collapse on the couch, and wake up to her already gone to work. Intimacy became infrequent, mechanical. She'd ask why I was always tired, why I never initiated anymore. I'd apologize, promise to do better, and then get called back in for another shift. She stopped asking. One night we had a big fight. It's always the hospital, I get it. You're saving lives. But mine is slipping away while I wait for you to notice I'm still here. We argued for an hour. She cried. I got defensive. And by the end, she was packing a suitcase. She had a job offer in Seattle. Better pay, better hours, a fresh start. She booked a flight for the following week. The day she left, I worked a double. When I finally got home, the apartment felt too quiet. Her side of the closet was empty. Her shampoo was gone from the shower. I opened my wallet to pay for delivery, and I saw the photo that we had taken in Mexico 2 summers earlier. Her laughing, head thrown back, my arm around her waist. I sat on the floor and lost it. Sobs came hard, the kind that make your ribs ache. I grabbed my phone and called Joe. Joe had been my best friend since undergrad. Same med school, same residency program, now both attendings in the ER. He's the guy who drags me out for beers when I've had a bad shift, the one who tells me straight when I'm being an idiot. He picked up the 5th time I called him. David? You okay, man? No. Julia left. She's moving to Seattle. Silence for a second. Then, where are you? Home. I don't know what to do. Come to the party. I'm at this costume thing at a friend's house. It'll get your mind off of it. Or at least get you drunk enough to forget for a few hours. I'm not in the mood for a party, Joe. You will be after a couple of drinks, trust me. Come on, brother, don't sit there alone. I hung up, wiped my face, and looked at myself in the mirror. Eyes red, shirt wrinkled. I changed into jeans and a tee, grabbed my keys, and drove. The party was in a house. People in elaborate costumes, superheroes, zombies. One guy is a giant hot dog. I spotted Joe right away. He was dressed as the Joker. He saw me, waved me over, and handed me a beer. "You look like hell," he said, clapping my shoulder. "But you're here. That's step one." We talked for maybe 20 minutes. I told him the details. Her new job, the fight, how empty the apartment felt. He listened, nodded, told me to focus on work, that time would help, that I'd meet someone else eventually. "She's gone, man. You can't force it. Just keep moving." I nodded, but the beer wasn't helping. The noise was too much. I told him I needed air, and I stepped outside. The sidewalk was cold. I sat on the curb, head in my hands, crying again, like a kid. People walked past, pretending not to notice. After a while, I got up and drove to her old apartment building. Our old place, technically, until the lease ended. I buzzed. No answer. Called her phone. Straight to voicemail. I stood in the lobby for 10 minutes and then left. I didn't plan to go back to the party, but my car seemed to steer itself there. Maybe I needed to see Joe again. Hear him say it would be okay one more time. Inside, the music was louder. I asked a woman dressed as a cat where Joe was. "Upstairs," she said, pointing. "Private room. He's with some girl. They've been up there a while." The door was cracked. I pushed it open. "What the hell?" Joe froze. Julia twisted her head and saw me. "David," she breathed. Joe dropped the crop. "Dave, man, this isn't..." "Don't stop, please." Joe hesitated, looked at me, and then back at her. I stood there, numb. "Julia, what are you doing?" "What does it look like? Getting what I need. You were never there, David." "With my best friend?" "He's here. He's present. He listens to what I say." I felt the room tilt. The vase on the side table, some cheap glass thing, was in my hand before I'd even realized I'd grabbed it. I threw it. It hit her temple with a dull thud. She crumpled. "David!" She groaned, tried to sit up. I backed away. I didn't mean..." Joe was already on his phone. "Yes, police, we need help. Assault." Julia, dazed, looked at me with something close to triumph. "You finally did something," she whispered. The cops arrived fast. She'd told them that I'd attacked her unprovoked, showed the welts on her back and legs from the crop, marks that she said were from me. Joe backed her up, said that he tried to stop me. They cuffed me, read my rights. I didn't fight. In the cell now, days later, I keep seeing her face. I thought love was gentle, safe, supportive. I thought that's what women wanted. I was wrong. Julia is an animal. If you're watching this somehow, be careful who you let in. My name is Matt, and this happened 6 years ago, back when I was in Chicago trying to make things better after my divorce. I bought that fancy Canon camera on a whim during better times. Thought it'd kickstart a side hustle in videography. But life had other plans. Alimony payments. So I listed it on eBay for $1,500, hoping for a quick flip. The bid came in fast. Some guy named Alex messaged me right away. "Hey Matt, love the camera specs. Need it for a shoot down south. Can you ship it directly to the location? I'll pay extra for express." I figured, why not? He seemed legit. Profile had a few positive reviews. We chatted back and forth. "Perfect condition, right? No scratches?" he asked. "Absolutely," I replied. "Used it maybe a dozen times. Comes with all the lenses and case." "Cool. Paying via PayPal now. Address is 214 Elm Street, Smallville, Oklahoma. Make it priority." The money hit my account that afternoon. $1,500 plus $50 for shipping. I boxed it up, slapped on the label, and dropped it off at the post office. Felt good. Like a weight lifting. That night, I even treated myself to a beer at the corner bar, flirting with the bartender, Sarah. We'd been circling each other for weeks. "Finally sold that damn camera," I told her, clinking glasses. Maybe now I can take you out proper." She laughed. "Oh, yeah? What's the plan, hotshot?" "Dinner, movie, whatever. No more ramen nights." But 2 days later, my phone rang while I was at work stocking shelves at the hardware store. It was PayPal. "Mr. Thompson, this is Lisa from Fraud Prevention. The payment for your recent transaction was made with a stolen credit card. The cardholder has disputed the charge." My heart dropped. "What? But I already shipped it. The money's in my account." "I'm sorry, sir. We've reversed the transaction. You'll see the debit soon." "Reversed? That's $1,500. I can't afford that. The package is delivered. Tracking says that it arrived yesterday." She sighed, like she'd heard this 100 times. "We recommend contacting local authorities, but PayPal's policy's clear. Seller protection doesn't cover this if the address wasn't verified." I hung up, furious. My boss let me off early, seeing the steam coming out of my ears. I paced the apartment, staring at the tracking confirmation. Delivered to some podunk town in Oklahoma. Who the hell was this Alex? I dug into the address online. Public records, Google Maps. It led to a modest house on the edge of Smallville, population maybe 2,000. And get this, the owner was the freaking mayor, Harlan Brooks. I called the local police non-emergency line. "Yeah, hi, this is Matt Thompson from Chicago. I think I shipped stolen property to an address in your town. Got scammed out of a $1,500 camera." The dispatcher transferred me to a detective named Ramirez. "Stolen how?" he asked. "Buyer used a hacked card. PayPal yanked the money back, but the package is at 214 Elm Street. That's Mayor Brooks's place, right?" A pause. "Yeah, that's Harlan." "Look, son, this sounds like one of those reshipping scams. We've had a few reports. I'll look into it." "Reshipping? What's that?" "Criminals overseas get folks here to forward packages. They pay 'em peanuts, claim it's legit work from home. Electronics, clothes, stuff bought with stolen cards. Gets laundered through middlemen." Jesus. So the mayor's in on it? Not saying that, but I'll pay him a visit. I couldn't sit still. That night, I vented to Sarah over the phone. "This is divorced, alimony, and now scammed? Karma's got a hard-on for me." "Oh, Matt, don't beat yourself up," she said softly. "People are more. Come by the bar tomorrow. Drinks on me." The next day, Detective Ramirez called back. Talked to Harlan. He admitted receiving packages. Says a guy online hired him for logistics assistance. Gets $20 per box to repack and ship to Russia. Didn't think it was shady. Yet he didn't know. Electronics and clothes? Come on. He's 62, semi-retired. Claims that he needed the extra cash after his wife passed. But, yeah, your camera's gone. Shipped out already. We can't recover it internationally. So that's it. I lose $1,500 and he walks? He's cooperating. No priors. Probably a warning, maybe a fine. These scams are global. Hard to prosecute the little fish. I thanked him, but rage boiled over. I looked up Harlan's number. Small town, easy to find. Dialed it that evening. Brooks residence, a weary voice answered. Mayor Brooks, this is Matt Thompson. You got my camera. A long sigh. Oh, hell. The detective mentioned you. Look, son, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was stolen goods. How could you not? Strangers sending you high-end tech to forward to Russia? For $20? I was desperate. Betty died last year. Medical bills piled up. This ad popped up online. Easy money, no heavy lifting. They said that it was overstock from warehouses. I got maybe a dozen packages. Laptops, dresses, shoes. Shipped them up to some P.O. box in Moscow. Dresses? Shoes? So women's stuff, too? Yeah, designer brands. Figured it was returns or something. You ruined me, you know that? That money was for my life. Bills. Starting over after my ex took half. I get it. I've been there. Lost everything to those hospital vultures. But I swear I stopped after the cop showed up. Burned the last labels. We talked for 20 minutes. He sounded broken. Not evil, just stupid and grieving. If I could pay you back, I would, but I'm scraping by on pension now. I hung up, deflated. PayPal wouldn't budge. eBay sympathized, but no dice. I was out $1,500, back to square one. That loss hit hard. I skipped the bar for weeks, buried in overtime. Sarah messaged a few times. Matt, you ghosting me? Come on, talk. Months later, I sold some old comics, paid down debt. Got a better job editing videos freelance. Sarah and I dated for a year. Didn't last, but it taught me resilience. As for Harlan, I heard he lost the next election. Small town scandal. My name's Olivia, and back then I was just a single mom. My ex had left me with a house full of his crap, including this massive 55-inch flat-screen TV that he swore was top of the line, but really just collected dust in the living room. I didn't need it. My daughter, Lily, and I were downsizing to a smaller apartment anyway. So I posted it on Craigslist for $200, figuring it'd go quick. Gently used Samsung TV. Perfect condition. Pickup only, I wrote. Added a few photos and hit publish. The responses came flooding in almost immediately. Most were the usual lowballers or no-shows. But one guy stood out. His name was Zachary, or at least that's what he said in his email. Hey, interested in the TV. Can meet today? Cash in hand. Straight to the point, no haggling. I replied back, sure, $200 firm. Where are you located? He was in the next town over, about 20 minutes away. We exchanged a few messages and he seemed normal enough. Mentioned he was getting it for his apartment with his boyfriend. Cool, no red flags there. But then things got weird. I suggested he come by my place to pick it up. Nah, I don't do house visits. He shot back, too risky. Risky? I thought. Okay, fair enough. I've heard horror stories about Craigslist deals gone wrong, especially as a woman. I didn't push it. No problem, I typed. I can drop it off at yours if you PayPal me first. His response was almost instant. Hell no! You think I'm giving you my address? That's how people get murdered. Murdered? I stared at my phone, half laughing, half annoyed. Who the hell did he think I was? Some serial killer? I'm 5'5", a life coach, and my biggest crime was binge watching Netflix while eating ice cream straight from the tub. But hey, paranoia is real these days. All right, how about we meet after my daughter's soccer game? Public park, lots of people around. I figured that eases mind. Daylight, families everywhere. Nope, he replied. You'll have too many of your people there. Could be a setup. My people? What, like I had a gang of soccer moms ready to ambush him? I rolled my eyes so hard I thought they'd stick. Lily was kicking a ball around the backyard while I paced the kitchen, muttering to myself, "This guy's nuts," I said aloud. But I needed the money. Rent was due, and $200 would cover groceries for the week. So I tried again. Fine. How about the parking lot of the grocery store in town? 3:30 p.m., broad daylight, cameras everywhere. There was a long pause. I could see the typing bubbles come and go. Finally, no way. Too isolated. People get jumped in parking lots all the time. Isolated? It was the busiest spot in our sleepy suburb. Moms with strollers, old folks buying lotto tickets. At this point, I was tempted to just block him and move on, but something about his fear made me curious. Was he traumatized, or just watching too many things online? Okay, last idea, I wrote. In front of the police station. Can't get safer than that. He hesitated, but eventually agreed. Fine, but I'm bringing my boyfriend and 2 friends. And I'll call an officer out to witness. Jesus, I thought, this was escalating to full-on drama. Whatever makes you comfortable, I replied, trying to sound chill. Inside, I was cracking up. Lily overheard me on the phone with my best friend Susan later that night. "Mom, why is that guy so scared of you?" she asked, giggling. Am I scary? I struck a pose like a monster, and we both laughed until our sides hurt. The next afternoon, I loaded the TV into my SUV, carefully wrapping it in blankets so it wouldn't scratch. Lily wanted to come, but I told her to stay with Susan. This might be weird, kiddo. I'll be back soon. I drove to the police station, parking right out front under the big blue sign. It was a sunny day, birds chirping, nothing weird about it. I got out, leaned against my car, and waited. About 5 minutes later, this compact Honda pulled up. Out stepped Zachary. Behind him was his boyfriend and 2 other guys who looked like they were dragged along for the ride. One was fidgeting with his phone, the other scanning the area like a Secret Service agent. Zachary spotted me and froze. "That's her," I heard him whisper to his boyfriend. "Yeah. Hi, Olivia." "TV's in the back." He didn't move. Instead, he pulled out his phone and dialed. "Yeah, officer. This is Zachary from earlier. Can you come out? We're doing the Craigslist thing." I bit my lip to keep from laughing. A cop sauntered out looking bored. "You the buyer?" he asked Zachary. "Yes, sir. Just want to make sure everything's legit." The cop glanced at me, and then back at them. "Ma'am?" He nodded. I smiled. "Hey." Zachary and his crew approached slowly, like I was a bomb about to go off. Show me the TV first," Zachary said, his voice shaky. "Sure." I popped the trunk. They all peered in, inspecting it like it was evidence. "Looks good," his boyfriend muttered. The 2 friends nodded, one whispering, "She seems normal." "Plug it in?" Zachary asked. "Here? In the parking lot? There's no outlet, dude." The cop chuckled. "Son, if you're this worried, maybe skip Craigslist altogether. eBay's got buyer protection." Just being careful. You hear stories. "Yeah, I do, but she's got a kid's car seat in there. Doesn't look like a murderer to me." I couldn't hold it in anymore. Look, Zachary, I'm not here to scam or hurt anyone. I'm just a mom selling a TV. If you don't want it, no hard feelings. He sighed, glancing at his boyfriend. They both held hands. Oh, okay, fine. Let's do this. He pulled out his wallet, counted out $200 in 20s, and handed it over under the cop's watchful eye. The officer even joked, "Want me to notarize it?" We all laughed awkwardly. Then came the transfer. I helped lift the TV out. It was heavy, but manageable. They tried to Tetris it into the car's trunk. No dice. Then the back seat. Still no. The four of them were crammed in like sardines already, and the TV was too bulky. It won't fit. I offered, "I can follow you guys home and drop it off." Zachary shook his head vigorously. "No! I mean, thanks, but no." In the end, they called an Uber for the TV. Yeah, seriously, an Uber XL just for the screen. The driver pulled up, confused as hell. "You want me to transport a TV?" "Long story," Zachary mumbled, tipping him extra. As they piled back into the Honda, the cop turned to me. You handled that well, ma'am. Some people are just extra." "Thanks," I said. "Makes for a good story, at least."